Hello, Maria.
Hello, Elena. Nice to see all these familiar faces.
Me too.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jamie. Jamie, I don't know if you saw the message that probably I should go first. That's okay.
Yeah, so great that you could join too, Sabine. Thank you. And we do a webinar a week.
I know we're seeing each other way too often. I guess it's good.
Hello, Jamie. Hello, Sabine.
Hi,
Nice
Maria.
to see
Nice
you.
to see you again.
Nice to see you, Elena and Medina too.
Maria. Maria or Anastasia, can you give me access so that I can switch slides?
I think Anastasia can do this.
Okay.
Great. I'll need it as well. Thanks.
Anastasia, can you manage?
Hi, good afternoon, all. We are setting up the translators. Hi, Sabine.
Hi, Anastasia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Sorry, I didn't hear your request.
If you could just give Jamie and I the option to share our slides ourselves.
They're in the common presentation
Ah,
deck already, so I will share that in a second.
no, I think it's easier. At least for myself, I think it's easier if I could share my own slides.
Here?
So
Okay.
if you just make me a panelist or
Yeah,
co-host,
I gave you the
it works.
permission for
Perfect.
it, and let me just see, Jamie.
Share if it
Where is
works.
Jamie?
This is working. Yeah.
Ha. If you do allow me, I have one or two slides just to
Yeah. Yeah.
welcome
Yeah. It
guests
was just to check
for
if it works.
yourself. Yes. Jamie, hi, hello. Good afternoon. Let
Hi,
me see.
Anastasia. Yep, works for me too. Thanks.
You would prefer your own presentation or do I share it from, yeah? So I'll make you a co-host and then it's easier. Um, yes.
I
So you're
can
now
share it
also,
now.
yeah, you're now co-host. Perfect. If you give us just a few more minutes, we are setting up the interpretation so everything works accordingly. So thank you for all for joining and for your patience. Welcome all, and thank you very much for your patience. We were just making some final setups with the translations. So I will share my deck and everyone can see it. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all to the conference Parenting for Wellbeing of Children towards institutionalization and sustainability of parenting programs
Deci, bine ați venit! Vom lucra deci astăzi
in
la această
Southern
conferință
Europe.
regională pentru parentalismul pentru bunăstarea copiilor spre
I'd like to give some
instituționalizare. Voi
housekeeping
arăta
rules
câteva
just
dintre
for the very beginning. Some instructions about
aceste
the Zoom
câteva
and
instrucții asupra
instructions about the
cum vom lucra
Q&A
cu
section we will
această
have. So the
aplicație
English
Zoom.
language is the floor language for this conference,
Deci,
and since we have
limba va fi
5+ countries joining, we have
în
simultaneous
limba engleză
interpretation
vom vorbi.
in Macedonian, in Bosnian, Serbo-Croatian, Montenegrin, that's the abbreviation, Romanian and
Deci,
Russian. How you can access it
se va
is you
vorbi
can
și în
find
limba rusă.
below left on your screen a globe icon. You can press that
Deci
icon.
nu avem
You can select
traducerea
the language
completă.
and you will receive the interpretation in your selected
Deci
language.
vă puteți
As regards to
selecta
the
limba în care
questions,
doriți
we will
să
have a Q&A
auziți.
section at the end of this conference. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can put your questions, you can pop up your questions in the Q&A icon you actually see at the also below at your screen. So first and foremost, I'd like to wish everyone
Aș vrea să
formal
fie
welcome on behalf of our region, on behalf of
această
Western Balkans and
discuție a
Southeast
noastră.
Europe. On behalf
Eu
of the
sunt
countries that are
Anastasia
here
Gaitazi
present,
Sazdova,
if you will hear their
reprezint
voices,
deci Centrul de Pregătire și
that's
Educația
North
Părinților, ONG
Macedonia,
Alternativa
Serbia,
și grupul
Bosnia-Herzegovina,
Alternativa din Macedonia de
Montenegro,
Nord.
and Moldova.
Tot așa vom
On behalf of
auzi câteva
myself, I'd like to
cuvinte
welcome
din
you an
partea
official welcome. And a great honor and a great thankfulness for being here today.
din
My
partea
name is Anastasia
celor
Gaitazi
din...
Sazdov,
Deci
and
eu
I'm the
sunt
Executive Director of the Center of
Anastasia.
Excellence in Parenting, which is under the NGO Alternativa and Alternativa group from North Macedonia.
Deci din această alternativă din grupa din
I would like to share today very briefly just the agenda of the conference and how we have planned with the whole region to take you on for the next about 2 hours. We'll have opening remarks from our global guest speakers from WHO and PLH. Then we will follow with our keynote speakers, the country representatives from our 5 countries, followed by our regional panel speakers, our partner organizations. We would like you to hear our local voices, the community voices, and all the achievements we have created across the last period. And we would like to end it with a brief Q&A session, followed by the closing reflections and our regional call to action. So with that being said, I'd like to open the floor to our honored guests and our global keynote speakers, to Sabine Rakototomalala. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your last name. I've practiced, I promise. The Senior Technical Advisor, Violence Prevention Unit from WHO, and Professor Jamie Lachman from the University of Oxford and CEO of Parenting for Lifelong Health. So Sabine, with that, you can take the floor and share your presentation, and I will stop sharing mine.
Thank you, Anastasia. I really appreciate you trying to pronounce my name, and you did a good job. I hear Nicholas Hiristu speaking very loud at the same time as you were speaking. Because
yes.
Sorry, we have technical problems with the translators. I have no translate in Macedonian language. I can't hear anybody. Sorry,
this is what it happens on a online, I think, conference. We will try to coordinate this internally. For the time being, I will mute Nicolas, and Sabine, you can just take on and continue.
Okay, thank you, and sorry for that.
No worries.
So my name is Sabine Rakoto-Malala, and I want to start first by really thanking you for inviting me to this regional conference on parenting and well-being of children. I work in the Violence Prevention Unit at the World Health Organization. Can you see my slides, Anastasia, properly? Yeah. I work in the World Health Organization in the Violence Prevention Unit, but I work on a daily basis on parent and caregiver support with the colleagues working on early childhood development, brain health, adolescent health, mental health. So it's a really flagship program across the WHO. And I just want to take you on a quick journey of, and I really won't be long, on how we got to where we are today in 2025 in our parenting work. And Jamie, who's speaking after me, has been very much part of this journey. But I'm just taking you back to COVID. I mean, I'm a parent. I have 3 children. I have parents. I know how very important they are in one's life. And I know I'm preaching to the converted. Oh, I can hear someone else. Yeah. And so I think we all know how intense parenting is and how important it is in our lives. So I'm preaching to the converted. But basically, when COVID hit and we realized that health systems were down, school systems were down, social service systems were down, parents were at the forefront. And actually, Parenting for Lifelong Health were the first to step up, and they said, we have to come together and support parents across the world. Within a matter of days, we were getting requests from ministries of health for the case of WHO, but UNICEF was getting the same from Ministry of Social Affairs to provide tips to parents to see how they could support their children in the best possible way. And I just want to show you some of these tips that a marketing company came up with. You might know them. They're called Saatchi and Saatchi, but this is what they came up with. They said, what are we trying to convey? That positive parenting is spotting a child being good and praising them. We're trying to convey that smart parenting is distracting your child with something when you see that they're getting restless. We know that patient parenting is taking a deep breath when you're about to shout. We know that parenting with attention is taking 20 minutes a day to give your child, each child maybe, 100% of your attention. We know that fun parenting is also important, and it can include dancing around the kitchen or playing with your child for 10 minutes. And then structure, which was also important in COVID, is creating a daily plan for the whole family. And open communication. So these were the kind of tips that we were trying to convey. And this was 5-6 years ago now. And really with a lot of effort from Parenting for Lifelong Health, UNICEF, WHO, Early Childhood Development Action Network, we managed to get reach 200 million families with these parenting tips. That was 2019. I continued 2020. We came together with a number of organizations. So the WHO, UNICEF, Parenting for Lifelong Health, the Early Childhood Development Action Network, and we set up something called the Global Initiative to Support Parents. And really our objective is fourfold. We want to bring parent and caregiver support to scale. We want every single parent who wants or needs parenting support to be able to access it without stigma. We want innovation. We know that we're in a time, especially the parenting tips showed us that actually there was huge demand and we were able to supply it. So we want to continue not just digital innovation, but also innovation in programming. We want to increase evidence generation and knowledge. And we want to continue advocacy to make sure that policymakers see the importance of investing in parent and caregiver support. I continue to take you on a journey. After this, Jamie will walk you through some of the data and the evidence that sits behind parenting and support. But I just want to give you more of an advocacy lens on this. So while we were already all working on this, COVID really brought us together very strongly. A couple of, I would say, years, maybe 18 months after, WHO had already been working, but then released an evidence review. So when WHO does a systematic review of the evidence, it's a very thorough process. But we managed to come out with these great guidelines that give 5 very solid recommendations on how parenting and caregiver support should be delivered for different age groups, for high, middle, low income countries. And based on that, we developed a handbook on scaling up parenting interventions so that policymakers are able to scale this up. The next thing we did was a mapping, and this is particularly, I think, of interest to colleagues on the call today, was a mapping in Europe, really to understand what are the programs in Europe and Central Asia, the scale, the scope, the target groups, and what are some of the implementation models. We know that Europe is like 3 decades ahead of other regions in terms of parent to caregiver support. So it's really great to see what Europe is doing well, what they're not doing so well, and then see if the other regions can learn. WHO is, of course, a global institution, so we're looking at the 6 regions of the world. The methodology was to work with the 53 member states of Europe and Central Asia, a lot of data collection, and then validation of the information per country with the UNICEF country offices. And there was a very strong focus on looking at evidence-informed programs, because if you start looking at every grassroots program, it would have been an impossible endeavor. Just to give you an idea, it's a 50, 60-page report, but just to give you a bit of an idea of what's in there. So we see that 49 out of the 54 countries have parenting programs. Most countries have about 1 to 5 parenting programs that have evidence behind them. The front runners are the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands. And you see that in the slides, which will be shared with you at the bottom, which countries have which kind of programs. And actually, there's still quite a focus on 0 to 6-year-olds. As a reminder, the Global Initiative to Support Parents actually looks at parenting across the life course from 0 to 18. And it doesn't only focus on violence against children, but looks at all the different the different outcomes. So ending violence, parental mental health, child mental health, educational outcomes, nutritional outcomes, and early childhood outcomes. From the mapping, we found that the target audience was generally both mothers and fathers, and many programs were actually focusing on vulnerable groups, such as parents of children with disabilities, parents, migrant parents, and parents of adolescents, or adolescent parents, sorry. We also found that program delivery was generally through schools, clinics, and community centers, and that majority of them were group-based, but there was also a number of therapeutic clinic-based interventions, individual coaching, or parenting advice provided upon request. And then most of the content, we know that most of the content across these parenting programs is very similar. However, some programs are now adding more content on gender norms, on digital safety, and on substance abuse. And many use evidence-based models like Parenting for Lifelong Health that Jamie's going to talk about now, and Triple P. I will just dive into the trends because I want to hand over time for questions and to Jamie. What we're seeing is that there's actually gender transformative focuses growing. We're seeing that there's more of a focus on mobile and digital tools that happen very much thanks to COVID. And there's more and more specialized programs, as well as emphasis on scale up and integration. I just went through 16 slides very quickly, but just to recap, we were in 2019. I mean, parenting and caregiver support was really blotchy. It was happening in piecemeals across the world for different sectors, for early childhood, for mental health outcomes, for violence prevention outcomes. And really 2019 put us in 5th gear, and we came together as a sector with all the agencies, with countries, and we're now still functioning in 5th gear, where we're really scaling up parent and caregiver support across the life course for different outcomes and starting to see massive results. We have a solid foundation, but there's room to grow. We should continue to invest in the policy space. We know about half the countries in the world have policies. Most European countries have policies, but we also really need to invest in the workforce and scale up. We need to continue learning and adapting across borders. So thank you for this conference. This is exactly what we need. And then we know that the digital and community models are showing promise, and how can we build on those to continue scaling those up as well. With that, I'll hand over to Jamie and open for any questions. Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you very much, Sabine. If I may say, hartelijk bedankt. And I will hand it over to Jamie. So Jamie, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. And that was a wonderful introduction to the overview of where we've come. And we have come so far over the last 6 years. So thank you for that, Sabine. I am going to continue that journey that we have been on by sharing some of the recent findings and lessons that we have learned from two initiatives. One, the Global Parenting Initiative, which is a 5-year initiative led by the University of Oxford to look at building the evidence of effectiveness and scalability of digital and blended parenting interventions. And then the work of Parenting for Lifelong Health, which has been working alongside Alternativa NGO and other partners with the Playful Parenting for All project to really understand and to accelerate the scale up of parenting interventions in Europe, but globally as well. And so I'll be providing an overview of 3 real key learnings that we have happened so far. Some are learnings around the capacity for having an impact on parenting and the outcomes associated with parenting in the real world, outside of the context of tightly controlled randomized controlled trials or other experiments. I'm also going to talk briefly about what we've learned around being able to take what we did during COVID-19 and apply that to other contexts of crisis and supporting parents and parenting children in crisis. And then lastly, I'm going to briefly discuss some emerging evidence that has come forward on the next generation of parenting programs globally and also in the region. So parenting in the real world at scale. And this is something quite essential because a lot of the evidence that we have seen around the effectiveness of parenting interventions is really constrained by the trials that happen and the really great evidence from randomized control trials. But the question, what happens after the trial, is very relevant. And here we can see a recent study led by my colleagues, Professor Lucy Kluver at Oxford and Professor Kathy Ward at the University of Cape Town, that looked at the real world delivery of Parenting for Lifelong Health for adolescents that was done in 7 African countries with 112,000 children and caregivers. And if you look on the right, you can see that there were really positive effects that were mirrored by the effects that we saw in the original trial in South Africa, but across child behavior, improvements in increases in nonviolent discipline, reductions in physical and verbal abuse, increases in positive parenting, and increases in parental monitoring. And this is delivery that wasn't controlled at all. So it was done by mostly community workers in very low resource settings. Another very exciting example of a scale-up of an evidence-based intervention is what Ida Ferdinandi, who is in this call, has been leading in Montenegro with the scale-up of the Parenting for Lifelong Health for Young Children program, which is internally into routine service delivery. They've built a national cadre of Parenting for Lifelong Health professionals and an accredited training program. And there's some nice resources that you can get online, both a study that Professor Judy Hutchings led on the outcomes that we're looking at sustained outcomes within Montenegro, but also a more feasibility assessment on the scaling up of PLH in Montenegro. And you can see with the graphs here that they have been steadily increasing the number of parents who have been reached in the country. Hopefully we'll hear more later today. Another very exciting development is around policy benchmarking. And in Serbia, we are piloting a benchmarking tool with UNICEF to support governments to implement universal parenting support strategies, identify gaps, and measure progress. And this is intended to be a resource for national governments in how to institutionalize and scale up parenting programs, as well as measure the progress towards that. There are 12 different domains that go across policies, to capacity building, to evidence, to changing social norms, and to financing. Another element that Sabine already highlighted was this handbook on parenting that we just launched last week with the World Health Organization, which is a handbook for decision makers and implementers on how to select, design, implement, evaluate, and scale up parenting programs. You can find it if you use the QR code, and really looking at like these 3 key stages: preparing for the groundwork for implementation, intervention, implementation, and then learning and sustaining. And that goes along with the guidelines that the WHO recently launched. So those are some exciting elements of how we're learning about parenting in the real world and starting to learn about scaling that. The next I want to focus on is around parenting for children in crisis. So out of the work that we did within the COVID-19 experience that Sabine talked about, we then took the resources and redeveloped them for contexts across the world that were other crisis contexts, and started off in Ukraine with the war in Ukraine, but also extended to Turkey and Syria during the earthquake, to Pakistan during the floods, to Palestine with the current war there, to Sudan, South Sudan, for the conflicts that are happening there, and into other contexts around the world. And one of our colleagues from the Hope Groups, Sydney Tucker, has led a randomized trial of the adaptation of these tips. So they really took the core content of evidence-based parenting programs, distilled them into parenting tips, and then redeveloped those into a program for a trauma-informed parenting program that was delivered to 510 families affected by war in Ukraine. And the results from that trial were really very encouraging, showing a 53% reduction in violence against children, a 46% improvement in parental involvement, 25% improvement in parental monitoring, and a 32% increase in positive parenting. We also found really positive mental health outcomes, including reduced parental depression, improved caregiver resilience, and reduced child behavior problems. And this was all done as a randomized control trial in comparison to waitlisted controls. We've also been adapting parenting content for edutainment, and this is an example of using a film-based intervention that was created for and with Burmese refugees on the Thai-Myanmar border. We conducted a cluster randomized control trial in 44 communities for over 2,000 parents of children ages 4 to 17, and we found reductions in physical violence and support of physical punishment, and positive improvements in caregiver engagement in early learning, positive parenting behaviors, parental knowledge, family functioning, and social support, showing how evidence-based parenting content and information can be adapted into a more population-level delivery system through film. Parenting for Lifelong Health is also working with colleagues in World Vision and also UNICEF to adapt these tip sheets into a chatbot delivery system to provide immediate care for caregivers in crisis, and that could be deployed in less than 15 days. And we've developed these using those parenting and crisis tips that were created with the Global Initiative to Support Parents and UNHCR, and created it into a chatbot delivery system that was then designed and adapted with parents who had previously experienced crisis. And what we are doing now with World Vision is deploying this in Ukraine, Romania, and Georgia, amongst other contexts as well.
And Jamie, can I just add to that? Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to say that the chatbot is just so brilliant, because imagine young parents today, 20, 25, they're very happy to be doing things digitally. So the old school way of parenting, receiving parenting support, is proving maybe less valid for the next generation of parents. And then the combination of the two hybrid is really what we need. But thanks for raising that, Jamie.
Thanks, and I will get into a little bit more of the digital next too. Thanks, I mean, that's really helpful. Lastly, we have developed a parenting in crisis toolkit. You have the QR code there that provides implementers with a way of how you can deploy parenting support in crisis situations. And as a guidance for researchers, implementers, and others who are engaging with parents during crises. It's open source and freely available, and includes information on preparedness, implementation principles, how to launch a response, how to develop or adapt resources for different contexts or crises, how to disseminate, and how to monitor and evaluate those. So I'll just let you scan that for a second, so make sure I'm not going too quickly. but also the presentation will be available afterwards as well. Lastly, I'd like to talk about exactly what Sabine was referencing. What is the next generation of where we see the need to develop evidence and experience for scaling parenting programs? And just to kind of unpack what the problem is, most of what I've talked about, except for the Parenting for Children in Crisis work, is really grounded in the evidence that shows that in-person parenting programs can reduce many adverse childhood experiences and promote positive child and family outcomes. But the problem we're facing is that these in-person programs tend to cost hundreds of dollars per family, and that makes them too expensive to scale in low resource settings. And it's not just the financial cost, but also the cost in time that you have for a parent to go and attend a weekly session between 8 and 16 weekly sessions on a weekend or in the evening. Typically, they're 2 to 3 hours long. And that is a burden not only for the service delivery system, but also for those who are engaging in the parent programs. And it is a barrier to that engagement. And I think so many of you who are in this call, who are engaging in delivering in-person parenting programs, can talk about some of those challenges of how people engage in those programs. So what we've been thinking about is how to build a framework for universal access to evidence-based support, where we will always have those those indicative intensive interventions, either family and group in-person sessions or individual case management that's really critical for those who are most vulnerable. But we need to expand the capacity to reach others who are more at risk, but are also have access through digital delivery via apps and chatbots, via online programs. There are some really nice examples of that coming out of the region in the Western Balkans and Southeast Europe, but also the integration into routine services so that they're short, brief, but part of the regular delivery. And then also those multimedia population-based dissemination approaches that have a wider reach through radio, through film, through TV, through newspapers. And everything has to be really supported by that enabling environment, the building of coordination and capacity building, the strategic planning and policy making, and also the ongoing need for knowledge exchange across the regions, across into different implementers, and monitoring and evaluation. And if you just think about this from an example of cost, it's just cost, not the time, but the actual financial cost. If an investment of 1.2 million US dollars, and this was modeling that was done in Tanzania, but could be remodeled for the region, would reach around 10,000 people if you're assuming that a program would cost about $120 per person to deliver. Now, if you started building, the scaling ability increases within facilitated online groups. And myself and Maria Releva and Viral Babi, we all worked on doing this during the RISE Parenting for Lifelong Health for Young Children intervention, where we facilitated via Zoom, and that brought down the cost quite considerably. Now, if you start blending in-person and digital approaches, the cost can come down all the way down to $6 per person. And if you're moving to just a digital delivery system, the cost is down to less than $1, which allows you to reach up to 1.5 million families for the same investment of 1.2 million US dollars. Unfortunately, most of the evidence that we're finding is still based in this blended human and digital approach. And I'm going to share some findings, but first I wanted to talk you through what actually that looks like as a real kind of life experience. So here in a lot of the places where we are working across the world, it usually starts off in an in-person onboarding and support session. So the in-person session might be for those with low digital literacy, but it could also be a clinic visit or a parent-teacher meeting where a child or parent is having extra difficulties and the teacher suggests or enrolls the parent in a digital application. And those can be delivered via daily parenting lessons and courses delivered either via chatbot or via an app or online. They can also receive facilitated-led online or WhatsApp support groups to help troubleshoot and build that social support, which is essential for many communities. There may be an in-person closing session to celebrate, and then ongoing peer support that is done by those who were part of those support groups. And what I'm going to show you next is a case study of recent, right off the press, findings from a cluster randomized control trial that we have just completed in Tanzania with 4,800 parents and adolescents. And what I'm going to show you is the results 14 months after that program was delivered in Tanzania. First, we had really great completion rates, and this was only possible because of the co-design that happened between parents and the designers and developers of the intervention to make sure that the intervention really was applicable to their lives. And what we found was really amazing results in reductions in sexual violence, so 67% less sexual violence experienced by adolescent girls and 17% less sexual violence vulnerability by both girls and boys. We saw reductions in physical violence and support of corporal punishment, improved parenting outcomes, improved mental health outcomes, and encouragingly also more equitable gender behaviors, attitudes, and reductions in intimate partner violence experienced by women. And this was all done for the cost of less than $6 per family, which is quite a remarkable cost savings when it comes to delivering programs at scale. Now, just to close, I know that there will be a lot of you talking about some of the highlights from the Western Balkans and Southeast Europe. Some of these include North Macedonia's first municipal parenting office in Karpash and efforts towards sustainability of parenting programs. In Moldova's recently launched the national platform on parenting education. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, there's been coordinated advocacy efforts involving multiple ministries. Serbia has established the first sectoral coordination for early childhood development and has been actively participating in the UNICEF policy benchmarking. We've already heard about Montenegro's work around licensing parenting for lifelong health children's programs through UNICEF and also the scaling and embedding into services. And then, of course, the NGO Alternativa's work to create the first regional coordinating hub for parenting programs, which is all part of this rest of today's conference. So thank you very much. It has been a journey that has been one that is a very collaborative one, including not just the agencies that make up the Global Initiative to Support Parents, which includes Parenting for Lifelong Health, the International Rescue Committee, the World Health Organization, the Early Childhood Development Action Network, and UNICEF, but also includes all the different local and national NGOs around the world who are working towards supporting families, the government ministries, and very importantly, all the parents and youth who have been part of the work on making sure that programs are designed for and with and for those who need it the most. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from others during the course of today's events.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you very much, Sabine. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure to first hear the absolute importance of the well-being of children and the health of children and parents, and setting the scene from the WHO perspective. And thank you very much, Jamie, for showcasing the importance and the impact that the evidence-based parenting programs are having, not only in the region, but definitely globally. So now that we have set the scene from the global perspective, I would like to take you on to a journey of our local, regional, contextual perspective for the Western Balkan and Southeast Europe. And with that, I would like to open the floor to the country presentations, country achievements, and policy perspectives that will come from 5 various countries. That would be UNICEF Serbia, Save the Children Bosnia and Herzegovina, UNICEF Montenegro, which we all heard very largely from Jamie. So thank you very much, Jamie, for that. The Ministry of Education and Research from Moldova, and the head of educational department already mentioned the municipality of Karpash in Skopje, North Macedonia. So with that, I would like to welcome Mila Vukovic-Jovanovic from the Early Childhood Development section of UNICEF Serbia. Mila, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anastasia. Just to check, you can hear me well?
Absolutely.
see?
Loud and
Yeah.
clear. And very nice
Loud
to
and
see you
clear.
again, Mila.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I want to start with a really, really big thank you to you, to our friends from North Macedonia, you personally, Anastasia, but also Slavica and the entire team from Alternativa organization. I mean, you are doing a really, really amazing job for bringing us together and encouraging this regional collaboration, which is really much needed when we are on this important mission, which is shared among each of us, I think, present at this call and this important conference. Also,
Thank you very much, Mila. Thank you very much. Means a lot.
yeah, it's a really from by heart, from heart. And also, just to continue with the appreciation, I need to mention our much appreciated local partners from the country, from Serbia, who are also with us at this call today. Belgrade Psychological Center, and to really provide acknowledgement for the really important level of dedication to parenting programs, and especially for the most vulnerable children in Serbia, and to expertise they bring at the table every time we collaborate together on parenting programs. So I assume that many of you actually already know, and Jamie also mentioned that. Thanks for that, Jamie, and Sabina as well, that UNICEF country office in Serbia already for years now very strongly support the government of Serbia and all aligned ministries, health, education, social welfare, in advancing early childhood development and parenting agenda. Recently, we also shift and focused our work and advocate and strengthening of local self-governments, seeing really opportunity to strengthen the local level of authorities to create the necessary policy, legislative, and financial frameworks which are really necessary for scaling up evidence-based universal progressive parenting support programs. So I understand that my task today is to also bring to your attention a bit of the local context in which we are working on jointly with the Belgrade Psychological Center and other partners in the area on the building systems to support parents. So I would just briefly start with outlining the current situation and needs of children and parents, and then share some gaps related to systems, also some strengths, and maybe some recommendations, but let's say it is more lessons learned than recommendations. So starting with the needs of parents, I would say that parents in Serbia, I think like parents around the world, really need sustained support from the system to nurture their child development and to prevent violence against children. When we look into the data, the data really tells the story of a shift in how parents perceive their roles these days, transitioning from traditional norms to something new, although still not clearly defined what is the new role in which they can imagine themselves. And while it is promising that 90% of parents in Serbia agree, for example, that corporal punishment should not be used, and it is not really the way to disciplining child. The reality still is that 1 in 3 child in Serbia at a very early age, maybe at 3 or 4 years, still experience it as a daily and routine practice of their parents. Similarly, from our studies of parenting practices, parents today really know, value the early child development and the opportunities that the early years bring. They recognize, for example, how play and communication is important for child development, but they really struggle to translate this knowledge into the practice and to provide their children with the responsive, playful opportunities for early learning through, attachment and communication between child and parent. So we also see they or the group of them like minimizing the time spending in play with their children, or they tend to be really directive and to really decide what and how they will spend the time with the child, and not really giving them opportunity to lead the play and to respond sensitively to their cues and their needs. Social inequalities also are still very, very high, and then they occur at a really early stage. And the gender gap persists with more than 60 children at a very early age not benefiting from the engagement of their fathers. So when we look in the system gaps, I would say that the three key issues stands out. This is also confirmed through our analysis, policy parenting benchmark analysis conducted with partnership with PLH, and James also mentioned it. So first, the health sector, although there was a lot of investment, still remains, even in the primary level, overly medicalized. Health service providers continues to focus on physical health with limited attention given to early child development and parenting as essential aspects of child's well-being. Second, there is a sectoral fragmentation and a strong expert-centric culture in Serbia. So basically, parenting skills and parental engagement are still not recognized as a core priority to any sector. So health is focused on the physical health of the children. Education sector focuses on education, social welfare, and safety and protection. And although the parent is accelerator for the all listed above things, they really do not prioritize working with the parents in their sectoral agenda. So we need to intervene there as well. And the third, I think also really important and also connected with what we have learned now from Jamie speaking about a new generation of the parenting programs, is that our sectors and systems are still and very often applies a uniform one size fits all model. This approach, as you of course know, really lacks cultural responsiveness and fails to reach many underserved families, especially those in rural or marginalized communities in Serbia, like the Roma community in Serbia is. Just briefly to look into the strengths and opportunities, because this is what we are building on our program here in Serbia, and it is really important not forget. So basically, policy benchmark really exercise, showcase, and confirm what we already assumed, that the parenting as a topic is now really recognized in the key national strategies across different sectors in Serbia. It is also really highlighted in the early childhood development call for action. Supporting parents is a first priority in the ECD call for action, local, country, but also regional. The second and very important, we already have a good service across a country to build on, like the home visiting nurse program, which is covering whole country and each newborn baby in Serbia and each parent in Serbia. We do have a playful preschool curriculum supported with the World Bank loan, institutionalized across preschool education, and we can see expansion of social services in many areas recently. And third, but not last but not least, we do have great resources in place too already after all, let's say, after all of the years of the investment. We have accredited and licensed evidence-based program like Playful Parenting Program and Caring for the Caregivers Program, which is offered to all families and standing alongside with PLH program as well, conducted by our partners, and as well early childhood intervention services for families who need extra support and intensive support. So for the end, instead of the recommendation, I would say the lessons learned. So political will is critical, really, to have a quality program at scale. We really need to strengthen our joint advocacy. We have some succeed in really mobilizing a different range of the really wide range of the different stakeholders advocating for the same thing. But I think we still need to strengthen advocacy efforts, so to really ensure government commitment and to see this commitment in clear adoptions of the policies, dedicated budgets, and long-term investment commitment to ensure scalable and sustainable parenting support. That's why I could share with you that we already agreed with our government, although the political situation is in a way that it is hard for the long-term planning. But we do have some commitments that Serbia is ready to develop a national ECD intersectoral parenting policy that really connects health, education, social and child protection sectors and ensures universal progressive support to parents across all stages of child development. And we are speaking here about programs which are really embedded into the routine services, so we can decrease the cost of the quality service delivery. And very interesting to learn more about digital innovations and how digital also could take place to achieve this kind of results. So I will finish with that we also really continue as a UNICEF Serbia to recommend to our government universal approach to primary prevention through a basic package of intervention for every parent or caregiver as the best way. But also we can see more and more how our efforts need to be most focused on most vulnerable children, on children and families who are at risk of adversive childhood experience, and really to ensure that no child to be left behind. Why? Because just for the example, 60,000 of young children in Serbia face developmental risk and difficulties, and their families need additional support through early intervention services. So we will continue also to support systems to provide targeted and intensive support for those who are most in need, so we can tackle already mentioned persisting social inequalities which still remain, although there is some positive economic development in the country. So yeah, over from my side, standing really open and really interesting in the following conversations, reflections, and questions.
Thank you very much, Mila, for sharing your side of especially policies in Serbia and all activities that are happening there. Very grateful. I have taken down the share option as I would like to also switch my screen to the possibility of the translations. So I would like to just encourage everyone to feel free to express themselves in their native language if they feel more free to do so. And we will provide the simultaneous translation for all participants. With that, I would like to welcome Aida Ivkovic from the Child Protection Program from Save the Children from Bosnia and Herzegovina to take you over the policies and the country perspectives and achievements in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The floor is yours, Aida.
Thank you, Anastasia, and hello to everybody. I'm really glad that on behalf of Save the Children Northwest Balkan office, our main office is in Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, we have office in Belgrade also and cover with our intervention program implementation in Serbia and in Montenegro also. So I'm really glad to have this opportunity to shortly present our family strengthening program, which was developed almost 10 years ago, since in that period, throughout our child protection program and our effort to support continuation of provision of community-based services responding to the needs of most vulnerable children and their families, together with our partners, civil society organization, as well as government institutions such as Center for Social Welfare. We're working on establishing and supporting drop-in center for children who live or work on streets or at risk to be involved in that kind of work, and for all children at risk in community. To strengthen the quality of that service provided to children and recognizing also critical role played by family in child development and resilience, Save the Children, together with partners, developed and started implementing this tailor-made, structured in a way soft program in order to standardize service delivery and provide targeted support to the families in needs. Family support program basically is aiming at enhancing parental skills, also promoting positive discipline and family cohesion. We, together with partner, work on adjust methodology and or material for work, and also since this program promotes balanced approach to risk and protective factors, is an attempt to reduce and neutralize the effect of risk factors and stimulate effect of positive factor, develop potential, improve skills and functional relationship and connection with informal personnel or formal community support network. Actually, support targeting mainly parental competency, quality of interaction between parents and children that enable proper child development and ability to clearly communicate, recognize, channel emotion, as well as connect and maintain relationship with others. Then parental resilience, ability to overcome stress and functioning despite challenges, obstacles and traumas. Social cohesion, ability to build, maintain positive relationships that allow emotional, practical, informing and spiritual support. So far, of course, together with partners, more than 500 families go to this program and benefit in a way. I mentioned that it's tailor-made soft program because it is important to work with parents when you want to improve situation for children. And the program is designed to work with families at high risk and features a structured approach focused on behavior change. It is a relatively short-term program and operate with realistic frameworks. The staff must possess the necessary knowledge gained through academic education and continuous professional development. They must also acquire and refine skills through supervision and supervised professional practice. Also, program emphasizes family involvement and community integration, but it does not predetermine who will participate, in what capacity, or to what extent. Not does it specifically the phases of the program they will engage in. It is set up to be flexible and adaptable to meet the characteristic needs and capability of the families, which is aims to serve. Also, challenges that this program cannot be implemented in families lacking basic living condition, or those which facing high risk factors such as criminal behavior, domestic violence, abuse, and child exploitation, because ensuring safety and stability is essential for success. This program is, as I mentioned, short-term, conducted through serious family meetings, as well as various activity that occur outside of these meetings, spans a period of 6 to 10 months and include minimum 15 to 30 meetings with the family. Dynamic number, duration of meetings, content of activity are tailor-made based on individual plan. In that way, we ensure to meet the specific needs and potential of each families. When the key problem in family functioning is resolved, leading to reduction in child risk behavior and risk of neglect. It is important to mention that we started from the beginning to advocate for practice of this program. Actually, it is developed based on the fact that in that period, in 2016-17, there is no systematically developed program by institutions, nor other stakeholder or actor were involved in that kind of support to the families of vulnerable children or children at risk. And due to that fact, from the beginning, we started to introduce institution with this program, and we received positive answer from some Center for Social Work, and they were involved in implementation. This program from their side is also evaluated as a good approach to work with family in risk. And we also accredited that program for Serbia and Montenegro, but in Bosnia and Herzegovina, due to a specific situation, lack of this kind of law regulation, the program is not accredited. Also, more than 160 professionals educated to apply this program. We have TOT trainers, and you can see on this slide data about some results. It is important to mention that throughout the drop-in center, this is a regular activity with families, and it was a pleasure to be in this event in March when we have policy dialogue on parenting support and protection programs. I am really grateful to Mentis Institute to invite us also, and it is from our perspective, it is important that family strengthening programs are introduced by system, and it is important to put more focus on work with vulnerable families. Unfortunately, in present situation, there is a lot of in our region and also all around the world. However, it is a good and great to exchange experience and results, and I really hope that in forthcoming period we will together put focus on much more systematic approach in Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially since in previous presentation you hear that in Serbia and Montenegro there is UNICEF and other organizations who support government institutions and with focus on early age parenting of children in early age, and I'm glad to share our experience. If you have any question, you can ask. When we talk about challenges, Mila mentioned those which are the same, almost the same in implementing this kind of program in practice in our region. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Aida, for your very detailed overview of the policies, as well as what some of the activities done by Save the Children, as well as highlighting the importance of supporting parents and working together with parents, this systemic approach when helping children, which is what we are really all striving towards, as well as the importance of the contextual application of this and multiple applications of this the parenting programs across the region. And as we heard, that's also the aim of the global community as well. So with that, I would like to welcome our next representative, our next guest speaker. That is Ida Ferdinandi, a child protection officer from UNICEF Montenegro. Ida, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me and see me.
Loud and clear and
yes,
very
good.
nice to
Sorry,
hear again, Ida.
sorry, you caught me off guard because I thought that our partner from Montenegro, Kristina from Association Parents, would present first. But this is fine. It's just you caught me a little bit by surprise. Otherwise, I would have turned on my camera earlier. So thank you
No problem.
again
Thank you very much, Ida.
Thank you for inviting us, and it's just lovely to see you all, especially to see the faces that are already familiar to me, and as well as names. I was tasked with speaking a little bit about the challenges in scaling up the Parenting for Lifelong Health for Young Children program in Montenegro, which we rebranded as Caring Families, or in Montenegrin Brižne porodice. However, I decided to also add a couple of achievements, if you don't mind, because it's I think it's always good to sort of package arguments, showing both sides, especially given that Kristina will speak after me, and she was going to speak also about achievements, although some things have already been mentioned by Jamie, which we're very thankful for. I would say that a greatest achievement for Montenegro when it comes to this parenting program is the recognition of this parenting program in two very important policy documents. There is actually a third one, but it is expiring this year. So I'm focusing on these two. One of them is the National Early Childhood Development Strategy, which is effective from 2023 to 2027. And the second one is the Education Reform Strategy, which is a big umbrella 10-year reform strategy, which was adopted in April last month. And it is going to be implemented until 2035. And it also recognizes the parenting program. And I need to highlight that both documents are costed and budgeted. It is a budgeted action plan, which includes all these, which includes various measures for further embedding and scaling up Caring Families program in Montenegro. The third strategy, which is expiring this year, is the Early Childhood Education Strategy, but now with the new Education Reform Strategy, sort of this preschool component is going to be absorbed by this large umbrella strategy. Also, something that has been mentioned by previous speakers, our focus has really been on routine service providers, because we really wanted to make sure that the program is delivered by government-funded agencies for sustainability, and we have also, as Jamie mentioned, we have made also sure as UNICEF country office to accredit these training programs by the social welfare and education institutes for accrediting training programs, in order to make these training programs also attractive for professionals, which they can then use to renew their professional licenses. I also want to say that Christina will speak about the role of the association parents. Of course, we really do see a great benefit in non-governmental organizations delivering the program, because they can, sometimes they're better at reaching vulnerable families, actually, especially. And I really want to say, and really want to highlight that we've had excellent cooperation with association parents in Montenegro. And I saw Christina's slide yesterday, and I was really impressed to see that they have actually reached almost 20% of all parents reached in this country. So this is really an impressive achievement, and I really want to thank Christina for being so visionary, you know, as the director of this very reputable NGO, for being really so visionary, for recognizing the importance, because, you know, she's been struggling to mobilize funding because the delivery of this program is not paid for by UNICEF. So all our partners, be they governmental or non-governmental, had to find ways to fund program implementation, and Christina has been really excellent at prioritizing this program over other programs. So I really, really want to thank her for that. However, when it comes to sort of challenges, which is related to the delivery by routine service providers and professionals, I have to say that the delivery of this program is still seen as an add-on to regular jobs, because mostly because there's lack of resources. You know, it's a middle-income country. There's lack of resources, there's lack of professionals, there's lack of funding. It's very hard to deliver this kind of program within working hours, office hours, because a lot of our facilitators are teachers who, you know, do teaching during their working hours, and then they have to deliver this program after their regular hours. And also sometimes parents, oftentimes actually most of the time, parents prefer to have sessions in the evenings when they are not at work. And then this also requires, you know, additional effort by facilitators. So this is still something that is seen as an add-on, although directors have been really keen. And as you can see, the scale has been quite solid, I would say. Still, I would want this program to really be sort of in somebody's job description, really, to be really fully embedded. When it comes to scale, Jamie already mentioned it, but and he even showed some graphs, but I also included one graph in the slide. So we've reached more than 2,000 parents, which is for a country of the size of Montenegro, very good. We have a 7,000 yearly cohort of children being born in Montenegro. So this is very good. And we've had sort of, as you can see, over the years, since 2018, over these last 7 or 8 years, we've had gradual expansion. We never stop. So there's been a gradual expansion in the number of municipalities, so that now 2/3 of municipalities deliver the program, and these are all the largest municipalities, and so only the really smallest ones aren't delivering, which is an issue in itself, because we want to make sure that there's equitable distribution of this program, and to make sure that it's available in every municipality. But I hope we will also get there, because as you see, there is an upward trend. Overall, one of the challenges, what do we see, is that the pace of expansion is not as great as we would want it to be. It's as you can see, it is an upward trend, but you know, we really want to have more people covered, because we want to make sure that we're changing social norms, that we're really reaching many parents, that we can you know, change social norms about child raising, child upbringing. And our data is very similar to what Mila presented in Serbia in terms of prevalence of corporal punishment or violent discipline, and also parental attitudes on violent discipline. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and we developed some projections with costing. I liked what Jamie showed with this costing. We developed some projections that we would really want to see maybe some 2,000 per year. We think that would really help change social norms. But we'll see. We'll have another mix at the end of this year. We'll see whether we've been able to, since 2018, the last mix influence the prevalence rates. Also, we are working on adapting the parenting program for different subgroups. This has been our focus and something that UNICEF has still been supporting the government with. Now that the government is sort of taking over a lot, and they're even paying for training and supervision and program deliveries, as was the case from the start, but they've really sort of absorbed a lot of the work and are funding it. But we are helping the ministries now to develop different adaptations of the program for Roma families. We had a very interesting research last year. We hope that we will publish it. And for parents of children with disabilities, this is ongoing. We'll also have a small feasibility study this year, and hopefully also be able to publish some of the initial findings. And, we would like to say, I would like to say that, one of the challenges remains, this limited reach of vulnerable families. So we want to make sure that we ensure reach, and I think training facilitators from these excluded communities would be a good way to go about this. And this is something that we don't really have. We don't have that many Roma facilitators, for example. So this is something that we want to focus on in the future. And obviously the need to continue with advocacy and resource mobilization for further expansion of the program and sustainability. I was, quite intrigued by what Jamie has presented about these online and blended programs. So I would just like to add that Montenegro is also one of the countries in our region that has the Bebo parenting app from 0 to 6 for parents of children 0 to 6. And we also invested a lot of effort, because this was mentioned at the beginning by Sabine. We've done a lot of work in Montenegro on disseminating the COVID-19 tip sheets. We were also one of the pilot countries, one of the 6 pilot countries in the world, implementing parent chat. And in fact, we also have made an adaptation of the Caring Families program for young children for online delivery. And this program is being delivered intermittently online mostly by association parents, who will speak after me. But I would say this is something, these digital formats are a little bit more difficult to embed in routine services, because our routine services are a bit slower at adopting these digital technologies in regular everyday work. And, for this to be recognized as actual work that is reimbursed and part of job description and salaries and all that. So this is something that is developing, like digital health, digital education. It is developing, but maybe not at the pace we would want it. So we've sort of really been investing more efforts in the face-to-face program, which is also the preferred modality by our facilitators. So thank you so much, and I guess over to Christina.
Thank you very much, Ida. Greatly appreciated, especially all the efforts that I think UNICEF Montenegro has been doing in the country for licensing the parenting programs. And what you've already mentioned, the cross-sectoral work that Serbia is doing, that's from looking at from the regional perspective, we have a lot to learn from all the efforts. And one thing you have pointed out, which kind of brings together everything we're trying to do now regionally with our regional network, the importance of the partnerships between the private sector and the public sector, and how do we go about with that, and the importance of really the community builders, the NGOs that are on the ground, and they are doing the majority of the work. So thank you very much for pointing that out. Before I give the word to Christina, I would actually like to give the word to Inga Krosu, so we can wrap up the part of the policy representations of our 5 countries. Inga is the director of the General Education Management of the Ministry of Education, and she will talk more about the platform for parenting education and positive parenting they are doing in Moldova, which is also an incredible example for all of us. So Inga, please, over to you.
Good afternoon, all. Nice to meet you. My name is Inga Gross, and I represent the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Moldova. And I will be present in Romania
Absolutely. Please go
for
ahead,
my
Inga.
comfort.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. În cadrul Ministerului Educației și
Our
Cercetării
mission
din
of
Republica
the
Moldova sunt
parenting
responsabilă
platform.
de domeniul politica privind protecția copilului,
I am
de
also
domeniul
the
incluziunii
coming from the
educaționale,
Directorate of General
de domeniul
Education
bullying, violență
Management,
și inclusiv de platforma
and
de parenting.
also from the
Această
advisory platform
platformă
on
consultativă
parenting
în domeniul
education
educației
and positive
parentale și promovării parentalității
parenting.
pozitive a fost creată la
We
nivelul
have
Ministerului Educației și
developed
Cercetării,
this
astfel în
platform
anul
in the
2025, mai exact în luna aprilie,
Ministry
a
of
fost aprobat acel
Education. In
regulament cu
April
privire la
last
organizarea
year,
și
this have
funcționarea
been
educației
adopted,
parentale
how this will
și
be
promovării
structured and
parentalității,
how it will
în
be
care este specificat
promoting
pentru
merit.
fiecare
It has been
responsabil, pentru
specified
fiecare
each profile and
ONG,
obligation
inclusiv și
and
parteneri,
what
care
will
sunt
be the
responsabilitățile,
partners
care și, de
and
fapt, este și
responsible
activitatea acestei
NGOs and
platforme,
what will be
care este coordonată de
the
Ministerul
management
Educației
of
și
this type
Cercetării.
of
Care
platform.
sunt părțile
What
participante
will
în
be
acest proces?
the actions
Îi
of
avem
all the
pe
stakeholders?
autoritățile
We
administrației
have
publice
the
centrale de specialitate,
authorities
mediul
of the
academic, ONG-uri,
central
practicieni care
administration,
furnizează programe și
NGOs
servicii de
that
parenting,
are
parteneri de
on
dezvoltare și
developing
inclusiv specialiști,
these types
psihologi,
of
asistenți sociali
programs.
din domeniul educațional.
And it is
Această platformă
facilitating
de
one
parenting
dialogue
este
among
un
the
grup de
stakeholders in order to
lucru
develop
permanent,
national
intersectoral, care este
and
constituit la nivel național
intersectoral
din
ecosystem
diversi
to
specialiști cu
promote
expertiză
positive
relevantă,
parenting
reprezentanți
that will be
ai
effective,
diverselor domenii care
innovative,
asigură
and
îngrijirea,
sustainable.
creșterea, educația și protecția copiilor. Este o modalitate de
It is a
informare,
module
consultare
of
și implicare
informative
activă a părților
consulting
pentru
and
conjugarea
applicable
eforturilor și
actions
resurselor
between
în
the
dezvoltare de
stakeholders
politici
and
și
resources that
soluții
will be
inclusiv
allocated,
în
and
domeniul
also
educației parentale.
solutions that will be
Misiunea
included in
acestei
the
platforme de parenting
educational
este de a
platform.
facilita dialogul dintre părțile interesate în vederea dezvoltării unui
So I
ecosistem
have already
național al
mentioned that it's
educației
most
parentale.
important to
Și,
develop a
desigur,
national ecosystem for parenting
și,
education
desigur, promovarea
and
parentalității
to promote
pozitive
positive
care să
parenting
fie sustenabilă.
that will be
Scopul
sustainable.
acestei platforme este de
The
a
main
crea
scope of
și
this
sprijini
parenting
un
platform
ecosistem
is
național
to sustain
eficient de
an
educație
efficient
parentală și
ecosystem
promovarea educației
and to
pozitive,
promote
dar de fapt și crearea celor
positive
produse,
education
servicii,
and
programe pentru toți părinții,
to
inclusiv
create
și
a more
pentru
sustainable
îngrijitorii
program for
copiilor. Acest
parents
sistem,
and for
ecosistem
parenting.
național,
Acest,
l-am gândit
this
noi că,
ecosystem
exact cum au demonstrat și colegii anterior, printr-o piramidă.
we have
Este un complex, un
on a
concept
national
complex și
level,
dinamic
which
care
is very
cuprinde
complex and
elemente și actori implicați în
dynamic,
procesul de învățare.
and different
Și este inclus
actors
pentru
from the
toți părinții
educational
în parenting
area.
general.
We have
Pentru unii
this
părinți
concept
avem
consists
creat
of various elements and actors
programe de
involved
intervenție
in the
timpurice și
learning
suport
process,
adițional.
and is
Pentru unii
a
părinți avem
cultural
suport
base
intensiv,
and a
iar
set of
pentru un
processes
grup
that
specific de
enables a
părinți
system
vom avea
for
platforme și
continuous
vom avea
learn,
programe
growth, and
pentru suport
at the
intensiv
end
și de
to
lungă durată.
provide a process of
Exact
adaptation.
cum am menționat anterior,
As I
elaborarea...
have previously mentioned, the
Da.
collaboration,
Mhm.
it's essential.
Can you see my slide?
She's asking if everyone is seeing her slides or not.
No?
If you want to share a slide, Inga, I will be more than happy to provide you with the possibility to share the slides. So if you can just give me a brief moment. I will make you a co-host. Yes, you're now
Okay.
a co-host and you can share your slides.
Okay. Mhm. Can you see? It's okay?
Now, yes.
No? Yes. Good.
Yes.
Mhm. Just a moment.
It will be a little bit challenging for us because I believe this is in Romanian, so to understand, but I trust that you will guide us through it. And all the other participants will receive the presentation in English.
In English.
So be able to view it after the conference. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you very much.
Thank you. Acest ecosistem național al educației
This
parentale
national
despre care vă vorbeam,
ecosystem
structurat
that I have
pe
mentioned is
forma acestei
structured
piramide,
in one
care
pyramid,
cuprinde diferite
which
categorii de părinți, inclusiv
covers
și cu
different type
obiective
of
pentru
parents
programe
and different
specifice acestor
needs
părinți.
that this
Totodată
program
ne dorim să
are adapted
elaborăm un
for.
ecosistem național
Also, we want to
al
elaborate
programelor
one national
parentale,
ecosystem of
să actualizăm cadrul
parenting program
normativ
in order
și,
to
desigur,
actualize
alinierea
these
acestor programe
norms
naționale
and
la
also to
standardele
align this
internaționale.
standard
Desigur
with
că ne
the
dorim și elaborarea celor standard de competențe
worldwide standards in
interprofesionale
terms of
a educației
professionalism
parentale și
and
ulterior
parenting.
vom elabora
We want to
registrul
elaborate one
național de
national
programe de
database
parenting care vor putea
where
accesa
all
atât
programs
părinții cât
will be
și profesorii,
accessible
cadrele didactice
the
sau
parents
specialiștii care
and
lucrează cu
teachers
copii pe anumite
that
domenii
are
conform
working in different
necesităților sau
areas with the
intereselor sale. În
pupils
cadrul
in their
acestei
scope.
platforme de parenting
In
vom
this
avea
platform, we will
create și
have
grupuri de lucru.
also a group
Sunt
working
5
group.
grupuri de
We
lucru
will
care
have
vor
5 working
lucra
groups
nemijlocit pe
that
crearea
will
ecosistemului
work on
național a
this
programelor
national
parentale,
ecosystem
de analiza intersectorială a acestor
for
programe,
intersectional
dezvoltarea
analysis
cadrului
in order
normativ,
to
mecanism de asigurare a
have
calității
some
educației
mechanism of
parentale și plan
monitoring
național,
and
registrul național
education
al
for
programelor și
parents
resurselor de educație
and
parentale
conform to
pentru
our resources. We
profesionaliști
dedicate
și părinți.
additional staff
Inclusiv vor fi
to
create
work
și
with
grupuri de
the
lucru tematice.
children and
Fiecare grup va avea și un
parents. Each
coordonator,
group will
membru al
have one
acestui grup,
coordinator, and this
care
member
va organiza
will
activitatea
organize all the
grupului.
activities of all
Trebuie să
groups.
menționez
We
că
want to mention also
educația parentală reprezintă
that
și o
parenting
prioritate a
is
Ministerului Educațional
one
din
priority
Republica Moldova, deoarece în
on a
planul său de
governmental
acțiuni
level.
pentru anul 2025
And
avem
for
inclusiv și acest
2025, we
obiectiv de a
have
crea și
also
dezvolta
this
programe
scope
de
to develop
parenting care să ofere suport
parenting program that will provide
și nemijlocit
support
să dezvolte cele competențe parentale
and also
pentru
to
părinți,
develop
pentru îngrijitorii
competences
copiilor,
for
inclusiv și
parents and
pentru
also
specialiști
for the
care
specialized
lucrează
workforce
în acest
that are
domeniu.
working in this field.
Și trebuie să recunoaștem că
Also,
părinții
we
au un
want to
rol
say
foarte
that
important, de fapt cel mai
parents have
important în
the most
creșterea și
significant
educarea
role in
copilului
the education
și
of the
de
child,
fapt ei sunt primii
and
și cei
they
mai
are the
importanți
first
educatori și
pillars
învățători
and
pentru copii.
educators
Și ne
for
bucură
their
foarte mult
child,
să
and we are
auzim și
focusing as
experiența
most as
colegilor din
possible
alte
to
țări.
hear the
Tindem să
experience of
dezvoltăm acest
different colleagues
ecosistem
from
de
different countries
programe
in order
parentale
to
și cu
see which
siguranță avem
programs
încă
will
foarte
function
mult de
most
muncit,
on
dar
our needs.
important este că ne
It's
dorim
important to,
să oferim
and we have the
suport atât
aim
copiilor cât
and
și
will
părinților
to provide
pentru
the
a promova o educație de calitate,
needs
sigură și
all the time
protectivă
to have
pentru
a
toți
quality
copiii. Mulțumesc foarte
uh,
mult. Thank you so
support to
much.
all
Thank you very much and good luck.
child in need. Thank you very much for your
Thank you
invitation
very much, Inga. It's
and time
absolutely
allocated.
impressive all the work that Moldova has been doing when it comes to the well-being of children and parenting programs. And I know the efforts that you have put across the last period of years. I trust build that up. So I think from the whole region, I may say huge congrats on the efforts. We have, I believe, a lot to learn from this example as well on how we can implement and really think in terms of sustainability of parenting programs for the region and for the countries. And with that, I would like to hand over the floor to our last regional representative, which comes from North Macedonia. Emilia Arsova, unfortunately, was not able to join us today, but she's being, on her behalf, we have Violeta Mihailovska, who is the head of equal gender opportunities in the municipality of Karpoš, in the capital of Skopje of North Macedonia. Sharing their vision as a municipality, sharing their vision as to all the activities they have done to support and how they have done it to support parenting programs, to support parents, to support professionals and children in Skopje, North Macedonia. So Violeta, the floor is yours.
Dobar den na site, se nadam me slušate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you can hear me.
Drago mi je što te gledam.
Good afternoon, Violeta. I'm so glad to hear you. I'm glad practically to have this opportunity to address you today and to be a part of this panel meeting so that we can discuss a bit about what we as a municipality can with pride boast of what we have achieved. We were the first municipal office who has started thinking about the subject parenthood. My name is Violeta Mihailovska, and I'm the head of the public relations department, and I'm the coordinator for the equal gender opportunity in the municipality of Karpoš. Karpoš is one of the 81 municipalities in Macedonia, but it's under the auspices of the metropolis of the country, the city of Skopje, and for this reason, we are having some restricted authorizations, unlike the other municipalities in the country. When I say this, I have in mind primarily the responsibility with regard to the creation of policies. Our work is done primarily or based primarily on program activities. Whatever we're willing to achieve is entering the annual work programs for which we try as much as we can to ensure funds and allocations in order to be implemented. Parenthood was sometime year and a half a challenge that we started facing. In the beginning of 2024, we wanted to design an activity or a project whereby we're going to help the parents in our municipality to be able to handle as better as possible all the challenges that are being brought forth by children. I mean, the parent becomes a parent when the child is born. So nobody in a way is born with the ability and capacity to be a parent. We have provided funds under the local municipal budget, and we announced a public call expecting some competent associations to apply to the project call. To our great pleasure, that was Alternativa NGO, with which we have established excellent lines of cooperation. And through the Equal Opportunities Program, we have envisaged this cooperation because parenthood is closely related to gender roles. And together with my colleague from the sector of education, we sat down and decided to conceptualize together with the Alternative NGO this project and design a parenthood program. Because realistically speaking, there are no specific projects intended for parents or intended to provide support to parents. The project envisaged providing training for facilitators. Within our municipality, we have as our competence only the primary schools, not the secondary schools. And for this particular reason, we organized training for a total of 21 facilitators, helping them to develop skills of working with parents who have children aged 0 to 6. In the course of 2024, we organized a number of workshops, roundtables, training sessions, so on and so forth. I would like to emphasize the fact that in the course of the trainings, Alternativa NGO work face-to-face with the parents by reaching out to more than 100 families, at which they had the opportunity to speak about all the problems they're facing, challenges that they're facing in the context of parenthood. And at these public, let's say, debates, the idea was born that we need to establish an office, a kind of a single space through which a practical assistance can be provided to parents. In the month of September last year, in one of the 10 primary schools under the auspices of our municipalities, this particular office was established or opened as a single space or office in the country. For the time being, there is only one such office, and it works from 5 till 9 p.m. And ever since it was opened in September until the month of May, more than 30 families have passed through, and each of them has been provided with technical assistance and support in the course of 3 sessions. They have the possibility to undergo 3 sessions in case they have some difficulties with their parenthood. Then they decide to carry on with these sessions by covering them from their private funds. And the sessions are provided by the Alternativa NGO and by the family, let's say, parent advisors in cooperation with the local schools. And this office is made available for all parents who live in the territory of the municipality of Karpoš. For the time being, the sessions are being delivered once a week, and there is an individual work with parents upon a previously scheduled time slot, and the sessions are individual both with the parents and with the children. So our idea to make some changes in the context of parenthood has yielded results because this idea was well embraced not only by the teaching staff but by the parents, and in particular by the public opinion, by the broader public in general, who I believe is gonna they can work on something similar. We, the units of the local self-government, within the frames of our competences and financial capacity, can indeed do a lot, a significant step forward in offering and providing assistance to parenthood. And for 1 year and so, we have been working now with the NGO Alternativa, and we hope to carry on with our cooperation. And we hope that we can at least open a couple of more offices because our municipality covers large territory, so that we can make this program more available for all parents. What we are willing to do as well is to open offices for parenthood for preschool age, so to speak, an office for the children in the kindergarten, because all the problems appear in the youngest age. You can recognize the beauty or the nature of the day by the dawn. The idea is to help the parents as sooner as possible so that they can overcome all the obstacles that they're coming across in their parenthood life. We who are parents know that at a certain period of our parenthood life have been facing problems. The idea in our municipality has proved to be quite practical and pragmatic. This has nothing to do with politics and other issues. This was a pragmatic, practical project, the idea of which was to yield results and a positive outcome, which has been the case so far. So we shall see how things will be running in 2026, so that we can provide additional funds in the budget and provide a larger or more extensive training for more facilitators, to open up more parenthood offices, and in this way to inspire and motivate all other municipalities to follow our example, and so that we can all help parents.
Violeta, thank you very much. Our best greetings to Emilia as well. I think what the municipality Karpoš is doing is really showcasing a pioneer showcase, almost simply letting everybody know that the governments we all talk about, they can, if there is an interest, to support parenting programs, which is absolutely something that the municipality is doing. So fund the programs, and something that I would like to definitely extract from what the municipality is doing is the way you motivate the facilitators, because what also Ida from Montenegro and Mila from Serbia mentioned, the greatest struggle is how do we motivate the facilitators, which are the professional support, so the teachers and the psychologists in the schools. How can we motivate them? How can we support them? And I think the municipality has done an extra large step here to financially support these facilitators to be able to then do their job even outside of their working hours, but to feel that they have been valued and that they have been motivated and that they have been heard, that throughout their daily work, which is highly challenging and very active. It's very, very challenging. And as what Ida mentioned, parents mostly want to do these groups after the working hours of the parents. And this is, I think, where Municipality Karhoš has jumped through with an example you have showcased, that there is a possibility to, where is a will, there is a way to motivate these facilitators. So thank you very much for showcasing your example, and not only from the policy perspective, but also from the ground of what the public sector can do in supporting parenting programs, as well as what we have heard from Moldova, from Serbia, from Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. We have been able to hear the voice of WHO, the voice of PLH, the importance of evidence-based parenting programs, so the voice of the global community. We have been able to hear the voice of our regional country representations, the achievements, the policies, how each country is looking into the parenting programs, the importance of the parenting programs. What are the strategies? What are the policies? What are the systems around it, and how can we utilize it? And now what I would like to do is invite our regional panelists, our partner organizations from the 5 different countries of North Macedonia, Moldova, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Serbia, our community builders, the organizations that are on the ground and they're actually implementing what the policies are, what the strategies are stating to stand for. I would like to invite them to share what we as organizations are doing on the ground, the amazing work that we are on the ground, and how we have been able to come together into a, I would have to say with great honor and great pleasure, say a groundbreaking regional collaboration in Western Balkan and Southeast Europe. And with that, I'd like to also invite all other countries that are present in this call to join us into building this regional network even further and even stronger. So the first one is Professor Dr. Maria Raleva from our NGO Alternativa from North Macedonia. So Dr. Miri, as we call you, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anastasia, and really it's an honor for me to be here on this panel today. And I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and honor that Center of Excellence in Parenting Alternativa is part of the GICP, and also gratitude to our partner organizations in the region with whom we have traced the pathway to implementation and institutionalization of parenting programs. So thank you for this to all of you. I will continue in Macedonian, and I believe we will have the translation to other languages.
Absolutely. Povedate, Dr. Raleva.
Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Raleva.
Yes, I
would like to introduce our institution. It is called Alternativa. to be more specific, Alternativa group. It is consisted of 3 entities that all work in synergy towards empowering the human systems. First of all, the Training Institute Alternativa, which is the EA-APT accredited for systemic and family psychotherapy that has been since 2009. Then we have the Psychological Center Alternativa, which is an institution which is accredited for diagnostics, therapy, and psychoeducation in the area of mental health. And it is since 2021. Also, the NGO Alternativa, which is providing support for families, schools, social and community systems. And also the systems for support of the parenting program since 2023 with more than 100 members. And finally, the Center of Excellence in Parenting, which is supporting evidence-based parental programs, which are promoting the mental health in children and adolescents, and also prevent violence against these groups of people. And essentially, I would also like to point out that this expert center for parenting skills, Center of Excellence in Parenting, is essentially the regional coordination center for the programs for parenting for lifelong health in the 5 countries in the region, and that has been the case since 2024. Now, I would like to mention a few words about the parenting landscape in Macedonia. Basically, the key policies are recognizing the parenting in all strategies for protection of children, as well as strategies for mental health. And also, UNICEF, in cooperation with other institutions, relevant institutions in the country, has prepared a strategy for parenting, which is supposed to be adopted by the Macedonian government and the parliament. The programs for parenting, or the lifelong health programs, which are for parents of little children, as well as the parenting programs for parents and adolescents, are implemented using a methodology on evidence-based methodology, which is rigorously following the scientific methodology. Another thing, something that was mentioned very nicely before me by Violeta, this nice practice of introducing the first office for parenting in the municipality of Karpoš in Skopje, which is a pioneer project in cooperation with the local self-government administration. And finally, we are working on the sustainability of the implementation of the parenting programs via continuous professional development of our partners, also providing or obtaining scores for their professional development via the program, which is via the national program, which is providing for education and professional development within this development policy. And at the end, just to mention something about the achievements and the turning points which pertain to the regional and national level, we can praise ourselves that we have indeed, in the last 2 years, we've done an exceptional efforts in implementing educations, in implementing programs together with the parents and together with the adolescents. And by doing so, we have covered 280 trained facilitators across the 5 countries, 77 in Macedonia alone. Then we have also provided 18 trainers and co-trainers, 11 supervisors, 3 master trainers, supervisors, which really have the power to disseminate the program both locally and regionally. We have also established and translated and adapted into all languages in the region the package of tools for parenting of children, parenting for children in crisis toolkit, as well as tips in crisis situations, which has been translated into 8 languages, including Roma and Albanian language. And I can say that after the tragedy that has happened in Macedonia in the town of Kočani, where over 60 young people died in a fire accident, in such a crisis situation, we reacted very quickly and we prepared 2 more amendments to these tips for parenting in such situations. We have also developed a package for a policy training package for the makers in the Western Balkans and Southeastern Europe region, with a integrated feedback that was collected from all stakeholders, as well as coordination of the countries via monthly meetings. This was a huge task, and this has indeed managed to bring all of us closer through a mutual learning process. All of us, 5 countries, Macedonia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and the Republic of Moldova. And finally, and I really have the big pleasure to be part of this, to learn from my colleagues and to implement something that we have learned together in this entire period. And in all 5 countries, we have implemented national workshops and policy making activities, including in our countries, which has united on a single place all those relevant factors which are involved in shaping of parenting programs, in the proper implementation of those programs, as well as all other agencies which can, through their existing resources, to implement these programs. I want to thank you for your attention, and I look forward for any questions. Thank you.
Ви благодарам многу, доктор Miri. Thank you very much, Dr. Raleva. As you have shared your gratitude, I'd like to share my gratitude as well for the whole region for these incredible results. Some of them we took over from the projects that we have been implementing in the countries of Macedonia and Montenegro since 2017 and 2018. But above all, these are absolutely regional efforts and regional results. And we're greatly honored and greatly thankful for the opportunity we have to collaborate with the whole region. Having said that, I'd like to mention that the toolkit, the Parenting for Children in Crisis toolkit, as well as tips translated into all 8 languages. The developed policy training package, which was in a draft version after this conference, it will be finalized into a final version due to the feedback collected from the stakeholders. And all other materials that have been mentioned from Sabine from WHO, as well as Jamie from PLH, we will make sure we provide to all participants after this conference, together with a link to this recording. So it is our way of sharing the knowledge and spreading the evidence-based results we have had from the parenting program so far in the region. I would like to, with this, bring our next guest speaker, Dr. Galina Lesko. She comes from Moldova, and she's the president of our partner organization, Health for the Youth. I would like to invite you, Galina, and please do let me know if you would like to share your screen and your presentation for the conference.
Thank you very much, dear Anastasia. Hello for everybody. I will be very grateful if you will allow me to share screen. And we have few slides. And thank you very much once again for all organizers of this event, for this great opportunity to learn a lot from this very rich experience was already what it's already accumulated in the region, and for new evidences, new guidance, and it's a good occasion also to see very well-known faces, colleagues, and to learn again. And we are very happy to share from some our experience in this process. We come from Youth-Friendly Health Services. Our association have already near the 25 years of activity, and it's oriented for mainly in promotion of health and development for adolescents through the adaptation of health services to their own needs, through the development of educational program and activity, and gathering the data in the area. And one of the main results, as you see, we developed a network of youth-friendly services in Moldova, who is focused for some 7 priority problem, but mainly have a very deep root, especially in family context, and also context of activity. It's therefore context of activity, it's oriented, have a very integrative way, and include consultative and also educational content, especially for parental program for adolescent, and even already in our policy, in our normative framework of youth-friendly services, we included the staff specialist should work somehow with different tools, in different way, parental meeting, etc., with parents of adolescent, because we understood without to address determinant of adolescent health, it's not possible to change their own health. And I want to present some example of our more evidence-based intervention. This is, of course, we are very happy to be what we was part of RISE PLH study in 2011-22 together with Alternativa, and I want to present few implementation after what was finished the study, because we remained, this is I am very happy what Jamie mentioned it. It's very important what happened after what we did, a very good pilot, a very good study, a very good research, but how we implement after. And we put a lot of accent when we develop a new strategy or new service, how we will scale up, and therefore what we all our intervention are very linked to real services of youth-friendly services. And for example, after the RISE study, now it's very largely implemented in our youth clinic psychologist practice, some separate session or in individual, in group work, this content, and also adaptation program in different contexts. For example, some of our colleagues what are presented in this meeting too did this PLH program with vulnerable family in penitentiary, even family, parents and kids together. In COVID context, tips for parents, online club of parents, EPLH, this chat box what was mentioned by Jamie too. In humanitarian context, we adapted in and translated in to Ukrainian and Romanian these tips for parents, and we spread them online, and even in our outreach work with refugee in refugee campus and etc., and was very highly appreciated. And now we are in flourish, and we are very happy. You can see what we work through all our country, but this is absolutely fit with our task of our services, and I hope very much that we'll have a chance to be very well scale up and included in next our service profile and package, Flourish Research Project for family with 10 and 14 years old adolescent, where we are together with Alternativa, and already we have near the 315 family included in this research, and our first feedback and specialists and family give a very good feedback and are very happy with this program. This is few example, but we have a lot of challenges. Lesson learned was mentioned in some of them, and it's very important to find a good solution. And maybe in our meeting, in our communication, we will have this solution, how to adapt services, how to integrate, and how to scale up after the piloting phase. This is all from our side. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Galina, thank you very much for your detailed overview. It is absolutely a great pleasure to collaborate with organizations such as yours that has incredible roots into the whole system in Moldova to bring all these activities to life, and not just to, as we say, work on project-to-project basis. So something absolutely to learn from, and thank you very much for sharing that. I would like to now take the next step into inviting another of our collaborators, organizations from Montenegro this time. As Ida has already mentioned, they're the smallest country in our current portfolio of collaborators, in our current consortium, if I may say so, but doing some absolutely incredible work and supporting, as you have heard, Ida from UNICEF Montenegro, they are supporting UNICEF into the implementation of the parenting programs in Montenegro already since 2017. Please correct me if I'm Christina. So, Christina, the floor is yours. Looking forward to hearing your side, please.
Draga Anastasija, dragi kolegi I partneri, veliki pozdrav za sve
Dear
vas.
colleagues and partners, greetings to all of you. It's a great pleasure that I have the opportunity to address to you on this conference and to present all the results from the associations of parents. Concretely, when talking about our Office of UNICEF and our partners since 2017, who are implementing this program in Montenegro, what is quite significant is once more to get the opportunity, besides presenting these results and listening to each other and about the partnerships that have shown successful since 2017, since the Parenting Association is conducting this program, and other relevant organizations from Montenegro, that we have been achieving tremendous, fascinating results to be significant support to the parents, not only in crisis, but also to vulnerable categories and parents who would like to have as quality relationship and reports with their children as possible. What is important to highlight, and I've heard on several occasions, Montenegro is really the smallest country, not inside of this our small group, but also inside the group that has gathered today on this conference. But that does not mean that the results that we have been conducting and that refer to the parenting program, which is slightly smaller, but still, on the contrary, we have achieved great results in everything that we've done so far and what we are yet to come in the next period ahead of us. I have to admit that Montenegro is not a country that can praise with the support of parents in the sense of some free services, but especially when talking about the relationship with the children, between the children and the parents, but we were eagerly waiting for such a program that we have had it since UNICEF office influence to bring about closer connection, formation between the parents and children since 2017 and onwards. Why? Because an immense number of parents that we have covered with the program and the results of other partners showcase practically that 90% of the cases over 90% that the results show that the parents are satisfied with the behavior improvement and relationship improvement between the parents and children. Since 2011, we have been focusing, as the very title says, on the parents and parenting, and we have been trying via various services, besides lobbying for improving the rights of the parents, to concretely help and support families. Also, we are to highlight that we are an organization with licensing services within the Ministry of Social Work, and we have established collaboration with the ministry and via UNICEF with the parents, and this is the bond, the chain to support and be the bedrock to parents, because parents were addressed to us and using the support and the SOS line to decrease the physical punishment of children, which is unfortunately high level, although it's been prohibited by law in our country. Still, this call to be an initial trigger for all the other programs that have initiated and started off later since 2017 and onwards. We believe that by resolving concrete situation by a 12-month period programs, that is the period how long this is lasting, that a relationship from 2 to 6 years children and families with this age of children are being helped by this program. In the past period, we have so many cycles and covered around 400 parents in total, excluding parents that have underwent a slightly different but still tailor-made program via the COVID times PHL program, which was in the form of chat format, which was a great model in that period of time when we were isolated and closed, shut down with no communication. You can see that we did an online version of this program. We mentioned that this is very challenging, as Ida mentioned, but it can be very supportive and helpful. But also what we did with the partners from Montenegro and the other families residing here, we did on developing some special programs for the families from Ukraine, supporting them via this type of support that was tailor-made specifically for them. We have 8 trained facilitators, 3 supervisors for the parenting programs. We have a program for the parents with children from 2 to 9. We have also conducted several programs of parents with teenagers, which still does not hold the status of licensed as the first one, for parents from 2 to 9 years of age. But still we are waiting from the UNICEF government and the partners that very soon we can talk about much bigger results along with our partners when this program is into question. Also, Ida mentioned on several occasions, but I would like to reiterate that among the challenges that we have, but that can be exceeded, we've heard about the municipality of Karpush, the Macedonian municipality. It's a good example that these challenges refer to the sustainability aspect and the financing that can enable to the institutions of education, health, or social care and social protection via the national budgets and the NGOs to provide with some opportunities to be able to ensure to have the chance and the mechanism, financial mechanism to conduct into practice these projects. As for the NGOs in our countries, they are doing this via various advertisements that are being announced. Not too many of them, but still can be used as a chance for financing. UNICEF is working along with the partners and institutions and the systematic resolutions. They are trying to reach sustainability when it comes to the educational system via the national strategies. That certain amounts are to be allocated in the next period for these programs, and it is very relevant to work on this sustainability to be enabled for all those who are not part of the institutional systems. But still, we as NGOs, we are directly working with the beneficiary users, and we have a very close bonds with the citizens, with the parents. That is why it is very important for this program to be available to as large number of NGOs as possible, to be conducted in as many municipalities as possible. And without further ado, I would end here, and I'm glad to be able to work on expanding this program, transferring our know-how and our experience, which showcase that everything that refers to the parenting program is a great support to the parents and to all stakeholders. Thank you once more.
Hvala ti puno, Kristina. Thank you very much for absolutely the work you're showcasing of how, as I mentioned also to Ida, the relationship between the public and NGO partnerships can actually work as community builders. So it is a great example for the whole region, and thank you very much for showcasing that. With, of course, all the challenges that we are facing in implementing the parenting programs, as you have mentioned. I would now like to hand over the floor to our partner organization, Mentis, from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And with that, introduce you to Armina Cerkic, who is the CEO of the Institute, with whom we had an absolutely great pleasure, as you can also see from the photo in this presentation, of starting activities and implementing activities around the parenting programs, evidence-based parenting programs of PLH. So Armina, please, the floor is yours.
Hvala puno, Anastasija. Ja ću se prvo zahvaliti na našem jeziku I čestitati
I'd like to thank first and express my gratitude on my language. Thank you for gathering us all from various regions. I'd like to greet and extend my gratitude to all the professors. Really, this is an impeccable work, and I'm going to switch to English because to align my presentation with what I would like to say, and I would keep it short.
Thank you for this participation. It's truly an honor to be here today. Just to briefly say and to contribute to, with not much to contribute to all the speakers that have spoken before me, but just briefly to present the context of Bosnia and Sarajevo, where we held our meetings and had privilege to work. Here in front of us, you can see a photo of the policymakers and one-day workshop that we had privilege to organize together with representatives of Alternativa and to share some of the policy documents. Former speakers, previous speakers spoke a lot about scaling up, but also importance of institutionalizing some of the key members, key aspects of all of our programs. And this is why we had been really, really specifically privileged and honored to have 21 representatives coming from a policymaker side, coming together in one space to really talk about support that could be possible, not just in scaling up, but also incorporating into the government policies. What we have taken from this particular day was very much in line with all the other experiences from the countries that I've spoken before, which is a need not just to scale up, but also to support parents in the way that is going to be non-stigmatized and that is going to support them in the place where they are currently. either being in the space of crisis or specialized programs. But I think one of the general ideas that we came about was that there's a need to really focus on parenting and much of all support parents in order to create better societies and better communities for all of us. What you don't see on this particular slide is also that previous to this particular meeting, we also had a 3-day workshop where some of the 280 trainers and facilitators that Dr. Maria already mentioned, 17 of them have been now trained in Bosnia as well. There was an idea to kind of go on the next slide, which I don't know if you actually, you have it already in the next steps. So I think for us, things that we can contribute to is maybe one of the things that really very strongly resonated with me, that was spoken by Jamie previously, and which is something that is kind of dear to context that we already work with or try to incorporate all of our policies or programs, which is they need to be designed with and for the ones that we are implementing it with. And I think for us, this has been truly a privilege to witness and to take part in this program because we believe it really speaks to this value. Thank you for this attention and privilege to be here today.
Armina, thank you very much. It is absolutely a great pleasure from our side to collaborate with your institute that has such a significant knowledge and expertise in the systemic approach of work. And as we mentioned before, how important it is to, when we work with children, to actually address the families and the parents, and the knowledge you bring onto the table in the region, and all the great work that your organization has done in such a significantly short amount of time in just the last couple of months. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for showcasing the Bosnia and Herzegovina and all the things that can be achieved there as well. Last but not the least, I would like to invite our partners from the Belgrade Psychological Center from Serbia, and Lana Vučićević, who will represent their groundwork and all the activities that we have, that we together with them, but in particularly Belgrade Psychological Center with their great network has done for the parents in Serbia. So Lana, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anastasia. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? See me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Okay, great, thank you. I realize that we are running a little bit over time, so I'll try to be brief. We are all also very pleased to have this opportunity to present our work of the Belgrade Psychological Center at such an important gathering such as this, and of course to take part in this regional exchange and the joint reflections on the possibilities of integrating parenting programs into our country and of course in the region. First, I would like to say a few words about us, who we are. The Belgrade Psychological Center is an NGO organization focused on improving the mental health of children and families. Our organization brings together professionals from various fields. So we have special education teachers, psychologists, experts from the fields of healthcare, education, social protection, as well as the representatives of the academic community. Through our activities, we focused on providing support to parents and also empowering professionals through various trainings and additional educations, and of course enhancing policies related to early childhood development and parenting in Serbia, especially through evidence-based methods and of course intersectorial and interdisciplinary collaboration between professionals. Since 2018, our organization has coordinated the implementation of various programs in the field of early childhood development and early intervention, especially in cooperation with UNICEF and Australian Embassy, Open Society Foundation, some of our ministries, and Alternativa, of course, and other national and international partners. When we look at the broader context in Serbia, we can say that significant progress has been made in recent years, and our colleague Mila Vukovic-Jovanovic from UNICEF gave a great review, so I will not go into details in that area. But I would like to say that we now have better laws and better strategies in the fields of healthcare, education, and social welfare. But there is still no unified national strategy dedicated specifically to parenting, and challenges also remain in coordination, integration, monitoring, and evaluation of the effects of existing measures. In this context, Belgrade's Ecological Center, we think, has made a significant contribution in multiple directions through projects with Alternativa since September last year. We have mapped systems of supports for families, especially in crisis situations, and identified key national coordinating institutions. We have conducted an analysis of parenting support policies in our country, and of course, we highlighted the lack of an integrated approach. We activated a network of over 400 professionals in more than 25 municipalities and 4 regions in our country. Those are professionals that are trained in family-oriented early childhood intervention. And of course, we worked closely with expert and highly specialized associations such as AST, Association of Systemic Therapists of Serbia, and organization named MOD. This is the Network of Organizations for Children in Serbia, which includes over 100 member organizations dedicated to the protection and promotion of children's rights. This year, between January and May, we distributed digital materials offering help and support to parents in crisis situations, including contact information for assistance as short, direct advices and tips for parents. In March of this year, we conducted a 3-day training for facilitators of the PLH program for parents of children aged 2 to 9, followed by 1-day workshop with key stakeholders, including UNICEF, MODS, other national advisory boards, some working groups, and other important institutions. Regarding dissemination of parenting tips and translation of the Parenting in Crisis Guide, we supported it with the campaign, a social media campaign that is, we're really proud of that. We reached over 60,000 users. So all these efforts, I think, that represent just one part of the broader commitment to building systems that truly supports families and recognize the crucial role of parents and families. We really believe that through continued collaboration, knowledge exchange, and shared responsibility, we can create more integrated, sustainable, and meaningful support for parents and caregivers across our country and, of course, in our region. So thank you very much all for your attention, and we are looking forward to the future conversations and maybe partnerships that will grow from this lovely gathering that we are so proud to be a part of. Thank you all.
Alana, thank you so much, and absolutely showcasing the achievements in hand together with institutions such as UNICEF. And of course, your vast network of professionals that you have across the country, and importance of integrating those professionals into the implementation, dissemination, and of course, activation of parenting programs. So absolutely great example of, besides the cross-sectorial work that Mila mentioned in the country, that is absolutely a great example of what it can be achieved. We have had a Q&A session planned, but firstly, due to times, and second, because I think all the questions that have been popped up in the Q&A section button have been answered. I'd like to point out once again that all materials mentioned, as well as a link to this recording, to this conference, and the handbook from WHO, they will be disseminated to all registered participants after this. And of course, for any inquiries or any questions you might have, please address directly to the NGO Alternativa we'll be more than happy to take it from there. We have heard the voices of the global community, we have heard the voices of the policymakers, and we have heard the voices of our community partners. So I'd like to give a short and quick reflection of the Western Balkan and Southeast status as it is per day. And as you have all heard, we are absolutely not an isolated effort. We are and standing all together as a united regional movement. We are countries from North Macedonia, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Moldova. We have had some requests and of course in the chat box on countries such as Albania. So we are absolutely looking into how we can expand our network even further to become even stronger, because our message is very, very clear. Parenting matters, and the parents need, we as parents need support, or majority of us that are parents here need support. What we already have, and this is what the decision makers need, is that we have proven models of evidence-based parenting programs, such as Parenting for Lifelong Health, what Jamie has mentioned. We have trained, as you have seen, trained facilitators that are absolutely here to support the growing network of national experts and institutions. We have the momentum of the national governments, as you have heard, ministries, international partners such as UNICEF, WHO, the LEGO Foundations, who is behind this project, the Global Initiative for Supporting Parents. We are here standing strong as a regional coordinating organization or network that, as you have heard, our organizations are actually catalyzers. They are the ones that connect the policies with the groundwork that brings us all together in the shared vision. And we're definitely not starting from zero, as you have heard of all of our organizations. We have expertise, we have knowledge, we have built network, we have tested success, and definitely have very clear outcomes on what the human impact for the parents and the children in our region can be. But definitely we want to walk away from something that is called projects and project-based work to something that is called systems and collaborative work. So our regional call to action to all governments in our region, to all policymakers, to all donors, international or regional or national or local, as well as stakeholders, is very clear. We need to institutionalize the parenting programs into our health, into our education, and into our social welfare systems, as you have heard. We need to work towards securing funding, whether it will be a cross-sectoral collaboration, whether it will be exploring more sustainable solutions, as you have heard, correlation between public and private partnerships, but we definitely need to see how we can actually secure this funding, because it is absolutely important to recognize and to accredit the importance of the parenting programs, the parenting interventions, especially the ones that are evidence-based, which are an essential public service. We are not here to spend the money, we're here to invest them into the future of our families and our children, into the future of the societies overall. So we are looking into building systems who can support parents, not just in times of crisis, as our region in most of the time is, but through really looking into more sustainable solutions for the proper development of the children. So it's absolutely important to build these social services, because it is about building nations. By investing in children through the work with parents, today means that we will have fewer crises tomorrow to deal with. By empowering families means that we will have healthier children and more resilient, more successful, more sustainable societies in the future. So this conference, this gathering, as Lana has mentioned, we are hoping to be a turning point, as I mentioned, to walk away from just project-based and look into building systems, because we are here as a one voice, one region, and one commitment. We want to embed parenting support programs where it belongs, in the national strategies, in the community systems, and in the everyday lives. And we here, the partner organizations, are here to make it happen. So as a final message that I would like to close this conference with is for all the regional decision makers, all the regional stakeholders, and all the regional implementers, you have heard us. We have the tools, we have the network. What we now need are policies and a support to make this happen, to implement the parenting programs. So by investing in parents today, we secure a better future for our children tomorrow. Thank you very much to all participants for this attendance. We are quite over time, but nonetheless, it has been an absolute pleasure to facilitate this great conference today, to have you all, to host you all. On behalf of the whole region, thank you very much. Wishing you a absolutely best week, month, and a year ahead, and all the best to the next steps we take into the implementation of the parenting programs in our country, in our region. Thank you very much. Have a blissful day, and we keep in touch. All the best. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye to all of you. Thank you.